Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine Store and I'm a greenhouse scholar, and today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about some tips that I've gained over my academic career involving academic advising and course scheduling. So let's get right into it. So, a little bit about me, just to give you a little bit of background and why I'm kind of giving you this spiel about academic advising. I'm currently a fourth year at the University of Denver, and I will be graduating this spring 2025, with my bachelor's degree in accounting, my master's degree in science of accounting, technology, and analytics, while having while also graduating with honors and having a distinction in my major, which is accounting, and lastly, with my minor in leadership. So, by having all these things that are going to come to fruition when I graduate, this took a lot of academic planning and a lot of course scheduling that just over time made more sense, but at first didn't really. So, with that, I definitely want to share you some of the tips that I've learned to get to where I am today. So first things first, scheduling courses can definitely be a daunting task, especially at first as a freshman. And there's definitely some things to consider when you're scheduling courses. And these are some of the things that I've noticed in my academic career. So one of the things to think about when you're scheduling a course is the time of day. Some people really are morning people, and so they jump at the opportunity to go to class at 8 a.m. Some of us are like myself are not morning people, so I schedule classes preferably if I can, after 10, 12 noon, and that just allows me to really be optimal during the time that I'm in classes, which whatever that means to you is just something that you should consider when you are scheduling for classes. Additionally, look into the professor. Sometimes you can dictate what professors you want to take a class with. And if, Rate My Professor is one place to look for reviews. Another is just your peers. If there's other people who have taken the class with this certain professor, maybe ask them about that. Because it may seem like something small that you don't even really need to worry about, but professors, sometimes depending on who you are, their teaching style may not work for you. So that is really important to consider, if that is possible. Again, these are all considerations to think about, but if things are not possible to get, that's also something that you just have to maybe live with in your academic career. If that's just the way, if this is like the only professor that takes this class, then maybe that is the only option that you have, right? But if not, these are some considerations, right? Another consideration is topic integration with other classes. How well does this topic work with other classes that you're taking? If they're all similar, maybe that helps you integrate one another. So it helps you kind of learn things at the same time versus juggling six different topics in one quarter or one semester, which can be a lot for a lot of people. So maybe considering that if that's something that you can control. Additionally, schedule integration. For me, I was a commuter, so I had to make sure that I wasn't taking a class at 8 a.m. and then another class at 6 p.m. because that's just like a bunch of time at school that maybe I don't need to do. If you're someone who, wants to have the rest of the day off, maybe think about, well, these two classes are close together, so maybe I can take these two classes together and then have the rest of the day. Or if you're someone that needs a break between classes, think about that too. Look at your schedule overall and see if there's if that schedule even just makes sense as a whole. And you should also consider if some classes have specific sequences. So some classes, like science classes, sometimes you have to take them one quarter after the other or one semester after the other, because that's just the way that class is set up. And in that case, just think about that, right? If you're thinking, oh, well, maybe I'll just take it next quarter or next semester, maybe if that's not really an option, then maybe you should consider doing that this quarter. Those are just some things to take into consideration. Lastly, just also look at the class overall. Look at the attributes. Is it writing intensive? Is it for honor students? Does it apply to what you need, or is it too much, or is it too little? Descriptions. Are you even interested in this class? That's also really important, especially if these are classes that you don't really need to take. So again, these are all just considerations. They're not always going to be in your control, but these are just things to consider as you're scheduling classes. So these are some tips that I've gained from working with academic advisors. And this is more for people who may have a little bit more organization or more of a plan for what exactly they want to do in their college career. But overall, anyone who's working on anything academic planning related, be proactive. It is your At the end of the day, it is your path, it is your choice, and it is your responsibility. So, what does that mean? That means researching programs on your own. Look into things that might be interesting to you. Look into degrees that you might want to pursue. And if you know what those degrees are, then look into those programs. What does that program entail you to do? What are your responsibilities in ensuring that you get into that program? Do your own research. That's really important. Also, be willing to ask a bunch of questions. Of course, even if you research into programs, there's going to be a lot of questions that you have, either for your advisor, either for departments. Yeah, you can really ask anyone. You can ask professors. A lot of people, and if people don't know exactly what the answer is, they'll likely give you a contact that can help you answer your questions. So be willing to ask those questions. Be willing to ask anyone you think that would be helpful. Create a checklist for organization, especially if, again, you know what you want to get into, you know what programs you want, what degrees you want. A lot of times they have a bunch of courses you have to take, a bunch of maybe prerequisites you need to take. Create a checklist just so you can organize yourself and see, this is exactly what I need to do in my college career, at least for the minimum that I need for this program. And that just allows you to stay organized, and it also helps you when you go to advisors, tell them exactly what you want. And another thing is confirm, and talking about advisors, confirming with your advisor. Go to them, make sure that you are on the right track. Make sure that they are on the right track. Because a lot of times now, advisors are working with many students, so it's easy to not, it's easy to make mistakes for one student over the other. And in that case, again, it is still your responsibility. You need to be able to ask them and make sure that, okay, is this for sure what I need to do? Just to confirm, these are the classes I'm going to be taking. Is this enough for my degree? Just go back and forth. It's okay to do that, because I think honestly, I feel like it helps them too. So make sure that they know exactly what you're looking at for out of the program or the degrees that you're pursuing. And lastly, just continue to explore. Even if you think, oh, I've got it set, I've got all my classes that I want, I know what programs I'm doing. Always be open to new possibilities. Always be open to exploring more of what you might want and what might be most beneficial to you in your college career. Now, you might be asking, what if I don't have an exact plan? What if I don't know what exactly I'm going to do in my college career, what major I'm going to take, what degree I'm going to get? That is totally okay, and honestly, very common in college students. Even for myself, I had no idea where I was going when I started as a freshman, and I was just like, I'm going to take my time. And that's okay. You should definitely take your time. Now, of course, you still have to take classes in the meantime. And with that, I do have some tips for that, because I think the most important thing is starting off with the required curriculum. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of required curriculum, either that be core curriculum from just any student that goes into college, or core curriculum for the specific school that you're a part of in your university. They usually have some curriculum that you have to follow regardless of what major you choose, and with that, or concentration you choose. And with that, it's good to start with those curriculum, because a lot of times those curriculum also gives you insight into what you might like and what you might not like, because a lot of times that curriculum is structured that way to give you exposure to a lot of different things. So definitely start with that. That also allows you to have more flexibility later on, since you have a lot more open space because you've already done the required curriculum that you need to graduate. Additionally, explore your passions. It's okay to explore through academic programs, whether that be courses that you want to take, or talking with professors, or non-academic programs, right? Student organizations, um, talking with peers. Those are all things that you can do just to explore some things that you might be interested in and might be interested in pursuing in your college career. And lastly, give yourself flexibility. It's Some people don't like to put a lot on their plate in the front end of your college experience. But I think if you do that, you're able to give yourself some more flexibility towards the end. If you want to add an additional degree, if you want to add a minor, if you want to, um, in my case, want to go for a master's, by doing more of the stuff in the beginning, taking a lot of credits, you're still able to give yourself that flexibility because at the end of the day, you only have 4 years, and scholarships usually only cover 4 years in school, and usually like 18, or I don't know, maximum credits, full-time credits each quarter or semester. So you only have a limited amount of credits that you can take, right? So by doing a lot more in the front end, you're able to still use a lot of those credits and give yourself the flexibility at the end, which I think is really great. But if you're not someone who wants to do that and wants to put that pressure, that's also totally okay. These are just some tips that I've had, but again, everyone's experience and academic planning will be different depending on what you want to gain out of your experience. And lastly, I just want to reiterate everything will be okay. I know, especially in college, especially as a freshman, it's very daunting. You feel like you have to have everything figured out. And if that's you, great. But also be willing to be open, because a lot of things in college will open your eyes to many things that you may not have considered before. And it's okay to have that curiosity. It's okay to be open to change. That's what you should be doing in college. So just be reassured that everything will turn out all right, and that everything has a reason, and there is a path in college. And if you want to change, if you want to you want to adapt, that's totally okay. There's a lot of resources for you, but be okay with that change. Be okay with new possibilities. That's the exciting part of being in college. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I can't wait to hear about all the successes you have.